So if you are a Christian, you belong to the kingdom, and you are a Ghanaian, you also belong to the country Ghana. So you pay tax to Ghana, you pay tithes to the kingdom, both for the development of the nation.
GHPon Ghana TV, simply the best.
Yes, it was here. My mom was Sabre from GHPon Ghana TV. As soon as you go so I was so good so I would see. Emma no man na GHPon kind. It was here. My mom baby near finances circle. Emma also said when you bring our hair na Mr. Abomati as our best subscriber, but like our comments and share. Ma uni also so when you be no ahwe ma no man na GHPon kind yamfa na CBM so ma DHI College of Health and Education so aso ye na sene or day suku pon entity pa ene nhihye pa ede boa sene be ya wana wo pesa wo to wana adesua so ewa apomudin edwuma ne mu no obenya baby papa ekosua de courses na etwegu no baby bia opa bia ade bia opesa wusua ene courses bebre a omoye ebi eye pharmacy, dispensary, healthcare assistant, home care, edoso odi ekọ cyber security, early childhood grade ene nasefo bebre ukọ oframo na omo na omo twetwen komo 0244 21 31 87 0244 21 31 87 omo wo patase amalena for nchen ho a from na onomo eninsa woso. Apostle Eric Nyamekye eden sembi ede atudwa ode nchurch bi aba watu ni nchurch ni din say why you have to pay tithe adenti na esesa wo utua ntutu so dudu ane titia adenti na esesa wo utua ntutu so dudu eho hia wagibre akyerechirem kama abuzia yenkotie ye papa Apostle Dr. Eric Nyamekye Mpacho Intiemra.
Read. He started from verse 9. But I'll start from verse 1 and end at verse 8. And then I'll talk about why you have to pay. If you don't pay, you'll be arrested. Okay, so let me get started. This Melchizedek was a king of Salem and priest of God Most High. He met Abraham returning from the defeat of the kings and blessed him. So Melchizedek blessed him. He was a priest. And Abraham gave him a tenth of everything. First, his name means king of righteousness. That is Melchizedek. Then also king of Salem means the king of peace. So we are looking at somebody who is the king of righteousness and the king of peace. Without father and without mother, without genealogy. If somebody has no father, has no mother, then the person is not of this earth. Is that it? Yeah. So he was a mystery. It was God revealed. Without beginning of days or end of time. Like the Son of God, he remains what? Priest forever. So Melchizedek is a priest forever. Just think how great he was. Even the patriarch Abraham gave him a tenth of the plunder. Even the patriarch, that big man Abraham, gave him a tenth. Now the law requires that the descendants of Levi or Levi will become priests to collect a tenth from the people. That is their brothers. Even though their brothers are descendants from Abraham. Now listen, the law required that the priest should be from the tribe of the Levites. He should be a Levite to become a priest. But this Melchizedek was not a Levite, yet he took the tithes. And then this man, however, did not trace his descendants from Levi or Levi. Yet he collected the tenth from Abraham and blessed him who had the promises. Abraham had the promises, yet this man blessed him. So he is talking about the greatness of this man, who is also not a traditional priest, supposed to collect tithes, yet he collected the tithes and blessed him. Now we are getting to the big ones. And without doubt, the lesser person is blessed by the greater. Now, if this Melchizedek blessed Abraham, then he's trying to suggest that he was greater than Abraham. Who can be greater than Abraham in Israel? Yeah. In one case, the tenth is collected by men who die. But in the other case, by him who is declared to be living. And one might even say that Levi, who collected the tithes, paid the tenth through Abraham. Now listen. So let's go back to the verse 8. The verse 8. 8. In one case, the tenth is collected by men who die. But in other case, by him who is declared to be living. Some versions say the one who lives forever. Now, so this whole chapter is talking about Jesus as the Melchizedek. And then when you move on to read, he's saying that just as Melchizedek was not a Levite, so is Christ, who has been declared as priest on oath by God. It was also not from the tribe of Levi, because Jesus was from the tribe of Judah. And God says that you are a priest forever. Now, if he's a priest forever, then he's saying that if the priesthood has changed, then the law must also change. So once we enter into the New Testament, we are not talking about the law again. We are talking about the new covenant, that Jesus is a mediator of the new covenant. So Jesus now is a priest of the new covenant. He is not from the tribe of the Levites. He is from Judah. But God has sworn that he is a priest forever. And he is a priest who does not die. And this whole chapter is talking about the priest collecting the tithes. So if he's a priest and God has sworn that he's going to be a priest forever and he's never going to die, when is he going to stop collecting the tithes? When will he stop collecting the tithes? See, the argument on the social media and all that should be debunked. Now, the new covenant in which Jesus Christ is a high priest is different from the covenant in which the Abrahams and the Moses lived. Now we are in a new covenant. And the priest, the high priest, is no longer from the tribe of Levi. He is Jesus Christ, like Melchizedek was also not from the tribe of the Levites. Jesus Christ has no beginnings. We said that his mother is Mary, but he himself never called Mary mother. He's a woman. He is God. He's never had a beginning. So Melchizedek was an image of Christ in the Old Testament. And now the king of Salem himself, he has come. And he lives forever. And the priest is supposed to collect the tithes from his brethren. So when is he going to stop collecting the tithes? Why do we say that tithes, the period of paying the tithes is over? It is an Old Testament stuff. Is Jesus an Old Testament priest? Is he not a New Testament priest as well? So where do you fix him? In the Old Testament or in the New Testament? He lives forever. He is our God. So he is alive to collect our tithes, and he's never going to die. All his brothers, including myself and you, we are supposed to give a tithe. Why do we give the tithe? So many reasons. But I'll give you one. I'll give you just one. How many of you work in Ghana? If you work in Ghana, let me see your hand. Yeah. If you work in Ghana and you do maybe any job that is quite organized. I'm not talking about our women who sell kenke and rice. They have a lot of money, but the government is not finding any way of taking money from them. Yeah. Now, the nation should be such that everybody should contribute. If you're a Ghanaian and you work in this nation, you should contribute. But the contribution, what is the contribution of the average of the Ghanaian worker? What is the name of that? Income tax. The income has a tax. How do you spell it? Tax. So everyone living in Ghana has to pay tax. For what? What is it for? For the development of the nation. So if you don't pay tax, have you offended the land? Is it an offense? Yes. Listen to me. How many of us know we'll be going to heaven? How many of us know we are from heaven? As for that one, we sing about it. But don't you know that those of us who will be going to heaven have the kingdom in Ghana? And those of us who belong to that kingdom, we pay a tithe for the development of the kingdom. So the tithe we pay is like the tax you pay. So if you are a Christian, you belong to the kingdom, and you are a Ghanaian, you also belong to the country Ghana. So you pay tax to Ghana, you pay tithes to the kingdom, both for the development of the nation. Have I communicated? So the Church of Pentecost, for one, 85% of our earnings comes from tithes. I listened to this woman who is always pestering the Church of Pentecost. There's munyai tithes here, and the vim with which she says it. And the other time I chanced upon one, munyai tithes here, and my heart just missed a beat. That is very serious. Can you imagine if the whole church decides, say, munyai tithes here, 84% of our earnings is gone. That is somebody who is against a church and wants to cut the ground on our feet. Yeah. But this argument of these people have to be debunked. Since you started saying munyai tithes here, our tithes has just been soaring and soaring and soaring. No. Soaring and soaring and soaring. Our budget is in the billions. A church. And so when we are talking about tithes, we are talking about kingdom support. For the tithes, or if you are Ghanaian, you have to pay your tax. Any other thing that you have to offer to Ghana could be your own offering. So when you are also in the kingdom, you have to pay your tithes. As for that, we pay. The others you offer. It depends on you. So for the tithes, it is your kingdom obligation. Do you understand that? Just as the tax is your obligation to the nation. It is non-negotiable. So whether you acknowledge God as your Lord or not, once you belong to this kingdom, you pay. There are so many people who don't believe in Ghana. And sometimes when they are paying the tax, it's paying them like no more they bear them cry. That does not mean if you don't pay and they arrest you, you say that I don't know what you do with it, so I didn't pay. No court will set you free. It is an offense. So sometimes people pay the tithes and they are following up. That one should not be your problem. That one should not be your concern. You be faithful to God. But it encourages people when the leaders give a feedback of what the tithes is used for. It encourages them when they see with their eyes that this is what our tithes have been doing for the church. So if you don't know anything at all, today I'm giving you a feedback that 85% of our earnings as a church comes from the tithes. When we had this conference, past ministers conference recently, we had to actually announce that the pastors should come in buses, because if they have to come with their vehicles, there will be no enough space for us to park all their vehicles. And all the vehicles we buy for them, and all the mission houses, every year we build average of about 40 new buildings, new mission houses. It comes from all the support that you give us. Today as we speak, we are in about 211 nations. Money, cities, turning to dollars, pounds, into all this. It's not just coming from the missions offering. Yeah, it is a tithe that is our greatest support. And so the missions offerings are designs just to help support whatever support we give the nations. And so if you are a member of the kingdom, by extension, if you're a member of the Church of Pentecost, you must know that you have obligation towards the development of the kingdom of God and the development of the church. And the high priest, who is now collecting the tithe, is not Aaron. It is not Eli. What is his name? It is not Melchizedek, the one who came after the order of Melchizedek. They collect the tithe. And when is he going to die? In the Old Testament, the high priest, because of death, they couldn't be high priest forever. But this one, the Bible said that you were a priest for how many years? Forever. He's not going to die. He is interested in you bringing your tithes. Yeah. So just tithe because of your kingdom obligation. And leave the rest for him. If we are faithful, he'll be faithful to us. Even when we are not faithful, he still blesses us. How much more when we become faithful? The issue is not about money for money, but it is money for blessings. Yeah. When you have God in your treasure, you have everything in one. That is the issue. My greatest prayer for every one of us is to know and understand the word of God. Let us make time to be reading the Bible and to be studying the word of God, so we are not tossed to and fro by any wind of doctrine. Just as our elder has been teaching us, it is one of the best expressions of tithes I've ever heard. Yeah, he's done very well. And whilst I was sitting down, I was very, very happy in my heart. Yeah. Only that I wanted him to have started the reading from where it matters. So the reading went up, and then maybe explain why Jesus is a priest forever and why he's interested in our tithes. The tithes is to be paid to the priest. It is not to be paid to anybody. And because it is not yours, you cannot be discretional about it. Can you say that I didn't pay my tax because a neighbor was very sick and I had to use my tax to help the neighbor, and then the government will say that, oh, God bless your good heart. They can even say, God bless your good heart, but you will land in prison. Yeah. And so some people, see, many Christians say that, no, somebody is sick. Why? That money is not yours for you to be discretional about. It belongs to the Lord. Why? Osofo, come. No, the preacher, you come. It is time to close, eh? Then I've also come. Tell them to wait. I went somewhere with this young man. He's a friend. I was sitting in his vehicle. And then somebody gave us 10 loaves of bread. He gave us. And then, when we got to my house, and I was coming out of his vehicle, he gave me one of the 10. What kind of human being is this one? Huh? Yes. How will you describe him? He gave me only one of the 10. How will you describe him? Selfish. He said you have been selling fish. And what again? Greedy. Wicked. Yeah. He gave me just one. Okay. This is wicked, selfish. You stand here. Presiding elder, come. I sat in this man's car. He's a friend. We visited the same fellow. The person gave us 10 loaves of bread. When we go to my house and I was coming out of his vehicle, he said, oh, I'll see you later. God bless you. If this one is a wicked man, what about this one? This one is a wizard. Now listen. You see, God gives us everything, including breath. And then he gave you a blessing. He says, just give me one out of the 10. If you are not able to give that one to God, then how how can you define your love for him? You see, the one who gave the one, you say he is wicked, selfish. What about you who takes the tithes as well? He didn't say give now, he said one. Just to check how you love him and then let you know that you are dependent on him. But now you take the one as well. And this is the one of the 10th that is making all the arguments in the world. If it's not from the devil, where will it be coming from? Because the devil does not want the development of the kingdom. Yeah. So that lady, so being that is serious. And then some pastors will be speaking, some people like speaking against tithes. Soon they will start their own church and they'll keep quiet. When they have not started their church, they attack the tithes. When they start, then they blame. You see, this is a charity. We depend on your voluntary giving and your obedience to the things of God. I want to encourage you. I do not pay a tithe. Oh, please sit down. I do not pay a tithe. But when I'm bringing my tithe, I give more than the 10th. Because, baby, I should show my gratitude to God. So when I come, I give more. I know that the tithe should be this, but I give this. Our father said, into susududu ene esuma afore. So they were all encouraging people to give more. So I give more. So what I give, I know that is over the tithe, but I name it tithe. But listen, when it is tithe day, and you come with an envelope, and what you are putting in is not a tenth, you cannot call it a tithe. So if you are giving less than the tenth, you cannot name it a tithe, because the tithe is a tenth. You understand? So you have put in something, but you didn't give a tithe. You can give more than the tithe and say that, God, this is my tithe. But if you don't give the tithe and you give something less, you can't name it a tithe. Have I communicated? Fine. Listen. Ever since we stopped, you started chopping the tithes of God. So we see that. Yeah. Ujaya ebebwa. Ujaya ebebwa. Ostati amintia tithes minibi inti mintia unsi dying. You see, the issue of Malachi was that they had returned from Ezra and they were still trying to fix themselves. So you can excuse them for not paying the tithes. But when they were hard pressed, God said, hey, tithes. Whether you have plenty or not, you are not excused from paying the tax. No matter how little, once your tax is your tax, you have to pay your tax. So once your tithes is your tithes, you can't say that I don't have plenty. No, you have to pay your tithes. But you see, what God looks for is our faithfulness. Let's all try to be faithful. And God will also prove himself very faithful to all of us. Shall we rise to our feet now?
If what cannot see, simply